What's up, everybody? Welcome to today's episode of the Comeback Couples podcast. I'm your host, Mark Jennison, with my lovely wife,
Kendra Jennison.
That's your favorite part to say that because you have the same last name as me.
I really get to shine right there.
I want you to really just whoosh. And by the way, before we just get into this, I think on one of the last episodes, wherever I talked about having to do something with my old soggy balls, and I got lots of messages. People loved that. They thought it was funny. So on this,
I don't believe it.
On this, I will show on this podcast. I get to be a little funny instead of just being serious, angry, fucking don't drink your life away guy.
All right.
With that being said, we're going to be serious, angry, don't drink your life away guy a little bit today. So you have no clue, as always, what this is. I like to keep the element of surprise at the forefront of your mind 24/7, 7 days a week, which is pretty cool. It says a lot for our relationship. We like to touch base on relationships. We're about to embark on a travel to Salt Lake City tomorrow. We've never been there. I've never been to Salt Lake City. Have you?
No.
No.
We've been to Utah, but not Salt Lake City.
I mean, I think I've been through Salt Lake City, but I don't think I've actually spent any time there. So getting to go to a mastermind that we're part of and pretty exciting about that. So today's topic, though, the reason I didn't really want to talk anything, even before we do the call, the show, typically I tell you a little bit about what we're going to do, but I want to talk more to the women today and the power of the importance of having your man's back.
Love it.
Right? Mm-hmm. Because let's just be honest. Last night I was done.
You were hurting for certain.
Like ready to shut down the comeback.
Yep.
Ready to, even though and for all my comeback listeners, is nothing against any of you guys. I love each and every one of you, near and dear to my heart. Like I eat, breathe, and sleep this shit. I'm starting to tear up a little bit because of how much it was hurting. But to have the thing that I created so fucking from the pain basically be used against me in a conversation yesterday caused an immense amount of just, I didn't sleep. You asked how I slept. The truth is I didn't sleep. Yeah. Right? My neck hurts right now. We're about to go. I'm starting to be stressed out about time and travel and tired. And, I always got to fucking piss a million times when I travel because anxiety and just the pressure and everything goes on me. But the reason I wanted to talk specifically to the women is, as a dude, especially a dude in my shoes, and I think this probably goes for every household who has a leader, which essentially if you're a man, you should be a leader. If you're not, you shouldn't follow me. But every household who has a leader who is driven, full of integrity and honesty and passion and life and all these things, there's this feeling you have to where especially for me, right? Being the leader of this large fucking men's movement, my feelings can't get hurt. Now, luckily, I don't have many. The truth is, I don't have many feelings, right? Like I don't have that many emotions.
You are by far one of the most emotional men I've ever met. However, you do a really good job of putting your mission and a lot of things before your own feelings. Well, I don't necessarily know. I should say you do a good job of that, but there you go. That's what you do.
Yeah. So what I mean by not. So what I say is I don't have emotions. I have severe hurt and I have fucking rage. Right? There's really no, and then there's obviously the happiness and the things that my family brings me, but I don't have many different moods, right? Even when it's like the depression from the season, it's like completely black or white on a lot of these things. And I very rarely talk about it. I cover it up. I go to work. I've created this ability to, I don't want to say get burnout. It's like I have a high tolerance for burnout.
Sure.
Right? I've had a high tolerance for everything, drugs, alcohol, like just pain, but I have a high tolerance for burnout. And what happens at some point, there's like the burnout becomes this crash, right? It's inevitable. Yeah. Eventually I just crash. You've witnessed it before. However, like last night, the reason why I want to talk about the importance of having your husband's back or your man's back is because as the dude doesn't want to go out and let you know that he's hurting, especially when like my comeback guys are crawling back from the pain, from the struggle that they've caused themselves because they finally have taken ownership of things and they're truly like already in a painful place, yet they're putting that smile on every day and it's a real smile, but they're building it day in and day out. And here I am 7 years removed and I'm looking at the love of my life, my wife, thinking about my kids, right? We didn't have the girls last night, but Phoenix upstairs sleeping, thinking about everything that I've created and freedom, which is everything to me, and how it could be used against me and essentially told that everything in my life is a fucking lie.
Yeah, it's exactly what happened. Happens, I should say.
And it doesn't. It happens.
It happens, yeah.
Right? From the morning I get up, from the second I get up, some motherfucker has something to say about the way I live my life.
Right.
Good or bad.
Yeah. And ever since I've known you, it's interesting that you say you have those two like main emotions of straight up anger. And what was the other one you said?
Rage.
Rage,
Well, rage and sadness. Or like, I'm happy a lot. Like, to be honest, to tell you listeners,
you are, but you do have like this angry side of you, and then you have this other side of you, and those are the two main emotions that people get to see of you. Now, what a lot of people don't care to learn about you, or you don't care to show, is ever since I've known you, and every year I learn more and more and more and more about you, which I absolutely love to do. But I think it's really imperative that people know that you're not that human at home in your safe spot. You've had so many people for so many years, and I've never seen, I tell you this almost every time we have a conversation about it, I have never seen or anything like it. Like, just when I think that people can't be any more deceitful or hurtful, somebody close to you proves it wrong, and I'm just like, God damn it, I honestly can't believe that. But the vulnerability
to the point where I started thinking there's something wrong with me.
To the point where you start thinking something is wrong with you. So the vulnerability that you, in snippets, choose to allow other people to see of you, you are so frightened because it's always been used against you every single time. Good, bad, ugly, indifferent, whether you help people, whether you don't choose to help people, whether you're kind to somebody or whether you choose to give somebody the cold shoulder. It doesn't matter what it is. People... Not everybody. People closest to you seem to have this way of flipping the script on you. So I don't blame you for only showing those two emotions to the rest of the world, because holy shit, how conditioned have you been your entire life to just be like, you know what? If I show anger and if I show rage and I show hurt, well, I can't get much worse than that. So I'm just going to sit here in this. If you're rage, people don't really mess with you. No. And if you're in sadness, people still don't really mess with you.
I feel like when I'm in sadness, people can tell. Sometimes they drive the knife in harder.
Absolutely, they do.
Like, they just turn that motherfucker a little bit. And I think that comes from being a comeback, right? Through and through.
Sure.
And it's not just me and the men inside his comeback. I'm thinking of these like guys that we're going to be interviewing on our podcast that I'm interested in hearing their stories, who've overcome some fucking massive struggle. And it always seems like this when you're a fucking winner through and through at your core, and you know it, and you get up every day, even when your mind starts telling you that you're not, because it happens to every single one of us and the friends that I have. But someone finally gets that little bit of feeling who's not truly a winner, and they just want to fucking crank it in.
Yeah.
And you see that happen to me.
I see it happen, and it freaking makes me so upset and makes me hurt for you, because you are most vulnerable with me, hands down. You've told me, you tell me everything. Good, bad, ugly.
Too much, probably.
Not even too much. But what's awesome about that is I know that every single in and out of Mark Jennison, down to your tippy toes, through your soul, up to the hairs on your head. Like, I know you. And never in a million years, whether I disagree with something you've said, whether I'm not quite sure if that's how I would have handled something, I would never, ever, ever use that vulnerability that you've shared with me to hurt you. That is what a weak person does. And it's quite honestly pathetic that someone could stoop so low and use that against somebody who shared something so sacred, in a sense, right?
It's happened my whole life.
It does, but I really want people to know that just because the two main sides that they see of Mark Jennison, which are those two sides, I mean, and it's not all the time, I'm just talking about in general, like, oh, he seems a little on edge, or maybe he's really hard to approach. Yeah, you probably would be a little hard to approach too if almost every single person that came into your life that was close to you took advantage of you some way, somehow. And where I wanted to lead into that with the wives was, if your husband ever tries or is vulnerable with you, don't you ever use that vulnerability against your husband, against someone you love, because he shares that in a sacred spot, right? There's like so many things that you've shared with me that I would never turn around and try to use against you to hurt you or to manipulate you or to, you know what I mean? And I think that's a really, really because there is a lot of hurt that these women have. There is a lot of mistrust, and there is a lot of things. And so badly, I think sometimes they want to retaliate, and they want to get that, like, I just want to hurt you like you hurt me, right? I mean, we see it all too often in the world.
Especially the comeback guys. And the truth is, they did, and I completely understand where the women come from on this. Like, dudes cheated.
Right.
You know, they cheated. They
messed up a lot.
They messed up a lot.
Yeah.
They drugged the family through hell. They right, and the wife and the husband, they decided to stay together though.
Right, and
that's the key thing.
And that's where I'm going with that. So those that choose to stay together, you are choosing, in a sense, to look past and to tell your husband, you know what, I believe in the man and the leader that you are going to be from now on. And because of that, because I know the man that you are going to be in, and you're proving it to me, despite the hurt in the past, I'm not going to use that against you, because that's not going to help us. That's going to hinder us, right? So allow him to feel safe and comfortable, and to share those vulnerabilities as the leader and the man that he is becoming, proving that he is becoming, right? Because there's going to be guys that mess up. Hey, that's on you, right? I wouldn't trust you either. I wouldn't. I'd be like,
so. If a dude is, I mean, I can play the devil's advocate on it, but if a dude keeps fucking up, then yeah, you need to get away from him. It's just that simple.
Honestly, sometimes, and people don't want to hear it, but sometimes it is best to part ways, and you will be happier.
And if you're a dude who's doing the right thing, but you've hurt your wife for 10 years,
right?
Don't expect her just to lay there with her legs spread wide open and say, "Come fuck me all day long," right? Because it's not gonna happen,
right? And right, the husband has to realize that just because you're this man now for a month, 2 months, 3 months, maybe it'll take
for
maybe
some guys
a year.
It takes a couple years, and there's still things for me that people hold against me 7 fucking years,
right? Exactly.
Not a relationship, but 7 years, I'm still fucking hearing shit. Actually,
but if it's something that is truly important to you, and that you truly believe in, and it's truly where you want to go with your future, then don't use that vulnerability shown against somebody.
I think that's a great place right there to talk about what should happen. Like, here's my thought on it. You're in a relationship. It doesn't even matter, because it can be your wife, it could be your kids, it could be your friends, it could be your family, right? Yeah. At the end of the day, if you're choosing to be in a relationship with somebody, this doesn't have to be a sexual type of relationship, but a relationship where there's connection and communication and trust and intimacy and all these things that matter. If you can't truly own wiping the slate clean, then why be halfway in?
Why be halfway in? And I think so many people hold on to, we have so much time together, we've done so much, but they just can't forget, and they can't let go of the hurt. And I'm sorry to tell you that maybe it is best for you that your slate is wiped clean for good, and you allow your husband or your friend or your mom or somebody or you to part ways and start a whole new slate.
I mean,
clean slate.
I'll be honest, right? Like, my thought of this morning of going through that, and I'm like, fuck, I'm last night I'm shutting this thing down. I love everybody. I had a speech prepared.
Yeah, I bet you did.
I had a speech prepared to come in today and let everybody go. I can do anything in my life right now. I don't have to do this. I don't have to subject myself to the pain every day, but I choose to do it every day. My point is this, though. If you're in this relationship and you're at this spot and you want to truly, the relationship matters to you, then you need to be okay with it. For me, I'm thinking about it. Like, when I had that speech prepared, I was thinking about what am I going to do? Like, what am I really going to do? What do I really want? What does Mark want for a minute? Forget the cameras, forget the money, forget even you, right? No, even though I love you, forget the kids, forget everybody for a second. The only person that I can't say forget is my dog, because he sits there with me and he licks me with his hot breath, and like, I go out there and I pet him and he thinks with me. But my point is, forget everybody for a second, and literally, what am I going to do? What do I fucking want? And I thought about all the times I've had to face that problem. Coming back from California before I even knew you, I mean, you were honestly just a child, and I was fucking smoking meth and lost my career at Pro Circuit for what I was doing. And all I did was change a geographical location. I never changed me.
Sure.
Here's the difference of what I've done the past 7 years. I never changed the fucking geographical location. I changed me. And now I've had both sides of the coin.
Sure.
And I look at it. There is no answer except for knowing this. The only person that you can fucking control is you. No matter where you're at, no matter what you've done to yourself, every second is a choice to be you. Man, woman, or child.
100%.
And that was some powerful shit that I just said right there, because my immediate reflex was, let's go. Which it still probably is.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time it is. Yeah.
Like, you know what? What I'm going to do, man, I'm just going to grab my family and I'm going to go. I'm going to do something different. I've been staring at this award for the $10 million award. I know damn well today I could create a video that says, I even had a name of a company already ready to go. I still might even do it.
Right.
Have a name of a company of something that I'm going to fucking do. And I'm going to go take on 4, 5, 6 clients a month. And I'm going to go surfing, take you guys, fuck everything. Not that I don't love everybody, but that was just going through my mind. And then I realized, I can't do that because of every man, every wife, every child, every person that tunes into our shit. They're counting on me. And inside of that as I was thinking about that was why I wanted to talk about you having my back. You sent me a message telling me how special I am and how incredible I am. And even though that I didn't feel like it in that minute, even though, and maybe don't even necessarily feel like it right this second, it's important to know that someone else at least feels that way about me.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a wife out there and you're listening to this, or your husband shared this, or you're a husband that's trying to figure out how to have this communication with your wife, man, I would say just fucking share this thing with her.
I think it's really also important for really strong and connected couples to know that even if something were to arise, like an altercation in a business or whatever, and it was something that you and I were both at, whatever, if someone was arguing with you per se, and whether I thought that you were right or wrong in that moment, I have your back 110% no matter what. Whatever you're saying, that's my husband. I have your back. In private.
Well, if I'm being a fucking idiot, you probably shouldn't have my back, but
I probably still would. And then in private, I'd be like, hey, what the fuck, bro? Like, what are you doing? You can't be doing that type of stuff. But it's not just, it's not just I have your back sometimes when it's convenient for me, when it's whatever. Through and through, I have your back no matter what. Now, that doesn't always mean that I think that you're correct, 100% correct in that moment. Like I said, you have a tendency sometimes to kind of go unhinged where you are just like, F this, F that, F this person. Now, I don't necessarily think that's the correct way to handle it, but in that moment, I want you to know that I validate your feelings. I'm on your side no matter what. I'm not sitting there telling you like, oh no, you're wrong. You can't. No. I'm going to let you be vulnerable, let you feel what you need to feel, let you know that I'm on your side. And then in private, or when the matter de-escalates, if you will, then it's like, hey, listen, I know you were really upset. I know you didn't mean a lot of those things, but I think this is a more proactive way to approach something like that.
Yeah. And that's what's cool about having, I'm not even talking about having your back because that's a different conversation. I literally have your back physically sometimes. And, but I can't even talk. I'm so fucking frustrated still, but just knowing there's a peace and a freedom, and I want every man to be able to uncover for themselves. And I'm going to say some stuff that's risque, right? If you don't have that and you think you can't have it with your wife, then why are you tolerating it? And if you're a wife that can't feel, because this isn't just about bashing the dudes or the wives or anything like that.
Right.
If you're a wife, girlfriend, whatever, and you can't feel that reciprocated, why are you wasting any of those non-refundable minutes? Not having each other's back. Like literally, what are you holding on to? What is the story that is so powerful in your head that you think you need to stay together? It's for the kids. And I know that like our son, had I not left, so that shit didn't go on. Had none of this happened, he wouldn't be nearly as good of a kid he is.
Amazing kid.
I would have been, if I would have stayed the course in that life,
right,
none of this would have existed.
Right. I agree. And same with me when I was first married with Blake. With the girls, it was like, man, could you imagine? Well, you can't imagine because it's neither here nor there, but how different everything would be for sure.
So the importance of just as a dude out there, and I felt like sharing this with you guys because I know that, look, leading from the front, not every day feels great. I I also know that every time something gets shitty and we're about to grow and things are about to expand. So I came in today, and even though I had all those thoughts and emotions, knowing that you had my back, and knowing we got some cool stuff going on, and being grateful, and having our son at basketball camp, and the girls are going to go to their summer camp, and all this cool shit that's going on in our life. Like, got a million and one things to be like. My life isn't bad. So I wanted the guys to understand that when you have somebody on your side and you're lining yourself up every night, every day, every minute to do the right thing for the woman you love and put that relationship on fire day in and day out, because that's what you committed and chose to do, man, things are going to work out. You can't always make her think the way you want her to think or do the things you want her to do, but at the end of the day, you can control you, which should ultimately get the control and the reaction you want from her, as long as she's the one that loves you. Right. And
I mean, I have your back because you are 100% without a question, unequivocally, because you are the man you say you are.
It's funny you say that, because and I know I am, right? Like, yeah. I fucking know I am. But in those moments, those fleeting moments of beatdown that you can give yourself.
And I think that's also another point that you should make. It's so many really hard-working husbands out here working long hours, building big businesses, doing big things. That comes with its own set of heavy weight. As I know for you.
Yeah, the pressure is a privilege, right?
But sometimes it is a privilege. But sometimes that shit gets heavy.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's nights that you come home, late, and I'm not sitting there and I'm not like nagging you about, okay, well, you weren't here for this and you weren't there for this and this and this and this, right? Because that's the last thing you want to hear, is have that understanding and knowing that the life that you want to live, the life that your husband is trying to provide you with, even if you're a wife that works, that shit doesn't come without a price, So allow him to be his most authentic self by coming home and just taking a breather for a minute. Maybe rub his feet a little bit, right?
In our house, I don't need a ton of time. I just need a couple minutes.
Yeah, for us personally, but
right.
But just to have that understanding, like, dang. Instead of maybe coming home and being like, well, where were you all day? And I had to do this, and okay, great. Also understand that he had a whole slew of things that he was dealing with that's not even family related. Then he's got to come home and he's got to deal with family stuff, right? Like, the privilege is, our pressure is a privilege, no doubt. But just understanding that
so is shopping. Heavy. So is buying that American flag cut off jean jacket that you have right across the way at this nice store.
That's right,
so is going to Utah tomorrow, first class, right? Like all the things we do, that all comes at a sacrifice of a lot of my time. And obviously, I know you're very grateful, so I'm not trying to come off like that. But like for the dudes out there, just remember too what you bring to the table. But you can't bring anything to the table if you're not being your best you. Then you're just a fucking schmuck covering up with money.
Right.
There has to be some intention and love and like.
And your wife, humans like can sense that, right? Like if you're being a schmuck and you're being whatever, you don't think I can't sense that? Then I don't want to be around you.
How many friends do we have that think they could just throw money at a problem and solve the problem, and they don't. Friends, clients, people we know, we don't have to give any names, but like quite a few. Right? And their relationships, their lives might be great, but their relationships are shitty.
Like, no offense, I know you in real life, not just what you put on Instagram. So
anyways.
But just to tie it up, like you said, just have some understanding and compassion for your partner. Truly, and never use that vulnerability that they choose to share with you against them, because, man, way to cut a man when he's down, right? Like, and for the husbands, like, listen, weight of the world on your shoulders, it gets heavy. Kudos to you for the men that choose to make that choice every day to get back up and to continue trekking on and providing for your family despite the weight and the stones and everything that gets thrown at you. Because if I can see it on my husband and how heavy and how just heartbreaking it can be, truthfully, sometimes, just make that choice to still get up every day. You have the whole world to prove that you're so much greater than some shitty people are giving you credit for, and the greatest revenge is your success. So.
And as long as the success is yours, no one else can claim it. That's all that matters.
Right. Whatever success looks like to you. So.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Comeback Couples Podcast. Did you have any parting words you wanted to say, hon?
I do not.
All right. Until next time, we'll see you then.